Hello, viewers. Welcome to Vibing with Mr. Marvelous. Thank you for being here. Thank you for viewing. Again, my name is Mr. Marvelous, and I'd like to say it's a great day. I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful just for the small things and for the little things in life offers. Just waking up in the morning is a blessing. So, a little introduction about myself and what vibing is about. So, vibing with Mr. Marvelous. So, what the idea came from, vibing is basically energy. Things we do, things we say. Some people call it spirit, some public, but basically, it's energy. The energy you put out there and what we do, what we say. So that's where the theory came from when we hear the word vibing, educating, and our daily actions. And I am the founder of Marvelous Motivations. And Marvelous Motivations is an umbrella where we educate kids, we train people, so physically and mentally. And as you had the name, Marvelous Motivations. And the word marvelous came about where it's not just a good day or okay. Because life is too short just to be okay, or life is too short just to be. Because we really, if you look at it, we got one shot. We got one life. We got 1 hour. Tomorrow may never come. So by me saying marvelous doesn't mean everything is perfect or everything is excellent or there's no problems. Basically, what we train our minds to see every day, it affects our life. And that's where the word marvelous came from, to just to be different and to add a little more excitement in life because it could be our last hour, our last minute. And that's how it started. And recently, we opened the Health and Wellness Center in St. Lucia. If St. Lucia in the house, give some thumbs up, raise your hands up, St. Lucia. Um, St. Lucia is a small island in the Caribbean, way, way, way south of the Caribbean. And in the center is open in Dennery, a small town of St. Lucia called Dennery. That's where the center is, and kids come there for after school program and Saturdays, open to the public at no cost for the kids, where they come in learn martial arts, different disciplines. Because we believe the future, our kids, so how can we take care of them? Also, giving back is very powerful. I always believe that it is more powerful to give back than to accept or to take. So giving is always more powerful than to take. When you give, there's something, there's an experience, there's a feeling that I can't describe that just brings satisfaction. And especially when we work together and we look out for each other, when we share love, is so much more powerful than the opposite. And a little fun fact about myself, when someone says something is impossible or Mr. Marvelous, you can't do this. That's way difficult. I smile and I put in the work. So I go behind the scenes. So very right, talk back. I love to smile when there's a challenge. And I put in work behind the scenes because I believe most things are possible. It may take time, it may take 2 years, 1 year, 1 month. But if we put in the work, if we stay dedicated, that most things are possible. Some things, yes, you got to be realistic about some things. But majority of the time that we could achieve our goal, we could achieve whatever we set out to put in the work to is very possible. And in the next few minutes, so I'll introduce you to our guest today. So every week we're gonna have a different guest. Today is our first live YouTube podcast, and our guest is from St. Lucia. I figured why not? That's where the center is, and that's where the vibes is happening right now. It's all over the world, but that's what we're focusing on right now. So our guest will tune in shortly, and his name is Sensi CJ. I'm about to bring him on the call. Drum roll, please. Bringing on CJ. Here he is. Sensi CJ.
How we doing?
You are live on Vibing with Mr. Marvelous. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, for sure.
Absolutely. I feel very grateful. I feel very much appreciated. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
Well, today I'm doing great. Matter of fact, I'm doing marvelous. Had a great day, had a powerful day, full of energy, full of love. Pumped, motivated as always. I'm doing marvelous. Keyword,
Fa-
marvelous.
Fantastic. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. A little bit about CJ. CJ is the main motivator at Marvelous Motivation Health and Wellness Center. He's big in the community of St. Lucia. He works in schools all over the island. He's a martial art karate instructor. I could talk about CJ in so many ways, but he's a leader. Mostly
Yeah.
impressed with his leadership in the community of St. Lucia, in the island of St. Lucia, the country. He's such a great influencer. He touched me when I first met him. We'll talk about it, how we met and stuff like that. Um, but I would like to CJ to tell us a little bit about you and your childhood, your upbringing. Who's CJ? How was your upbringing like? Your childhood? Where you coming from? Are you from St. Lucia? Are you from Barbados, Trinidad?
uh, I was born in St. Lucia, been in St. Lucia my whole life. Um, Originally from Castries. I was born in the community of Mondido Castries, and basically my upbringing was very unstable. I would say it was very unstable. You know, I wasn't really brought up in any high class or middle class family. I would say it was a low class family. All right, so as I said, it was very unstable. So growing up, I never really had a one specific place to call home. All right, so it was a lot of moving around. So sometimes I spend a couple of months with this person, with this person, with this family member, back and forth with my mom, sometimes by my dad, my father, sorry.
Absolutely.
Yes, it was very unstable. Um, but in the long run, I took it as I took the lessons from it. I didn't make it something to drain me or to keep me down, but
Absolutely.
I try to see the best or learn the lessons from it. You know, but if it with the life came a lot of challenges because as a young person on your own, doing figuring on your own as a young man, as a young boy.
So you became an adult very fast as a child. So most people live an adult like a childish life. They play, they go home, food is prepared, the parents are home waiting for them,
Right.
cook, clean clothes. But I guess you became a young man at a very early age. Sounds like.
Basically, now there were certain times where I did have that, because as I said, I spent some time with my mother, but it wasn't for the entire time. So I did have that every now sometime, but it wasn't like throughout my years. But majority of the years was basically me figuring life out on my own. You know? Yeah.
And what has been your biggest learning experience as a childhood? Like, what did you learn the most going through what you had to go through?
What did I learn the most is that you need to learn how to adapt. I believe that I learned that life is all about adaptability. Being able to adapt to every situation. I think that's the main lesson I learned growing up. Learning to
Fantastic.
adapt.
And as a child, did you travel, leave the island, or went anywhere? Or
Um, when I was younger, I went to Barbados with a cousin of mine and his mom. And last year, I also competed in a competition, Karate 2022 in Martinique. So that was about last year, April. And that's about it. Yeah. But most of my time being on the island.
excellent. And you mentioned about karate. Where did your love for karate started, or how did that come about?
I would say the love for karate came from movies. I would say probably from movies. Growing up seeing all these movies and these ninja movies, all this kind of stuff. But I actually got into karate from the age of probably 9 or 10, and that was also by my cousin. He was already attending, and then there was one time, I went with him to one of his sessions, and from that one session, I just kept going, and that sparked everything from then. So I was about the age of 9, probably 9, 10, probably even younger. Yeah. So that's
Excellent.
about like 13, 14 years, about. Yeah.
And look, I heard your black belt,
Yes, second degree black belt to be exact.
second degree black belt. You like a lethal weapon.
That's what they label me.
You must be very dangerous on the streets. Everybody, beware. Do not mess with Sensei CJ.
Ah, I think they know that. I think they know that.
Love it. Congratulations on your achievement. Very proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that for sure.
And as a fellow St. Lucian, you said you were born in St. Lucia. You grew
All
up
right.
in St. Lucia. You've seen many changes in St. Lucia. Every day things happen. If you would become the prime minister in the future, or you had the power to change something, like one area or one topic on the island, as you know, everybody, every place, every country has social issue, any type of issues. What would you change? What would you focus on if you became the prime minister of St. Lucia?
If I became the prime minister of Saint Lucia,
Yes, one area you would focus on. I mean, there's probably 10,000 things you could think of, but
right?
for this beautiful island, there's always problems everywhere. But what would you see you could do better or change? Would like to see happen on the island for a
I
change?
would say, I would say probably I'll probably invest more into youth development. I think that's where I'll probably put most of my, my attention on youth development, because I believe the youth, like myself and even younger, you know, sooner or later we're gonna be the future of, we're gonna be the leaders of the country.
Right.
And again, growing up as a young man, I realized a lot of older folks don't really invest in the younger kids. So as a result, the younger kids resent the older folks. So it's a whole confusion. So everybody is just to themselves. The young trying to make it on their own, and the old is basically still keeping the old routine, the old patterns, and not trying to, have fresh or innovative ideas. So I would say
Absolutely.
I'll probably mostly I'll involve into the youth development. That's what I would say.
And the youth development, are you saying that there's lack of resources for the youth? Are you saying there's lack of facilities, places they could go, or programs on the island like they could do?
Definitely, there's definitely a lack of resources and facilities, because our people here are very talented, full of energy, but we have little options, little little help, little facilities, as you mentioned. So if you really check it out, right, because right now the crime rate in our country is also going up. So a lot of people are resorting to a lot of destructive things, destructive ways of living, because everybody is trying to survive. But as I said, the country is full of talent. It's filled with talent. But one thing about us, we love to party. That's one thing about us. We love to party. That's one thing.
So there's always a party. There's always something fete happening, a party.
Yeah, for sure.
And for the youth, there's nothing much you believe that's happening for the youth, for the younger
It's not
generation.
enough. I won't say there's nothing happening, but I would say it's not enough, or it's not effective. It's not effective, or probably what they're doing is not touching the youth, the youths. You know, probably they're not understanding what really the youths need, because the youths are not really responding properly to what they're trying, if they're trying. You
Excellent.
know.
And do you know any program the government is running? Anything the government is doing for the youth? Are you aware of it? Have you done any research?
Um, Not really,
Okay,
not really. But I'm not. There may be a few, but
right. But you
not
don't
really.
see nothing being televised or being nationally broadcasted.
The only thing I'm seeing right now is marvelous motivations.
Okay,
Definitely, that's
excellent.
what
That
I'm.
is a new initiative in Saint Lucia. That is a new wave, a new vibes happening on the island. So
All right,
it's there to stay. Excellent, good stuff.
all right.
Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts on the social issues on the island. And earlier you mentioned the way one of the ways you deal with obstacles was to adopt to change. You
Right.
and any other way do you deal with obstacles or opportunities? I call them opportunities because I believe yes, there's problems, and the way I look at problems is I call them opportunities. And life will challenge you every day. There will never be one day that'll be okay. There may be a few days that's nice, all
Yeah.
bright, sunny, sunshine, but the rain always comes and goes. So those rainy days or those problem days, apart from adopting, what other ways do you adopt to change opportunities?
What I would say is basically is just go for it. Whatever challenge, whatever problem, whatever issue that comes up, it's just about going for it. Sometimes you may feel positive, like I can say just be positive, but that's a very shallow answer. Just stay positive is very
Right.
shallow because sometimes you're positive for now and then you motivated for now, but motivation don't last. So, but even if you're fearful, even if you're not optimistic about it, and again, as you mentioned, it may be an opportunity, but it's challenging. Even if you don't feel too positive about it, it's still good to just go for it.
Excellent.
All right. So that's how I live as well. Just go
Thank you.
for it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So,
Yeah.
CJ, apart from martial arts and karate, what's your hobbies?
My hobbies.
Yeah.
Um. Well, I like to stay active. I like to be adventurous. When I can, I'll probably go jet skiing. I like to ride bike. Sports. I love sports. All sports. I love to write as well. So I do poetry. I also have a book coming out in June. I read that will be my that will be basically my first book in June, releasing in June, and I also do music as well. All right.
Congratulations. So your poetry, is it more a love poetry or what type of poetry?
Well, I do all kinds, but it started with love poetry because that's how it started. Writing for my little girlfriends in secondary school. Little love poetries.
Your little girlfriend or girlfriends? But just friends, right? You have all kind of friends.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but basically, that's where it started, and then I basically innovated, and now I do all different types. I speak about life, I speak about the struggle, I speak about everything. Also in my music as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And music, I have heard a few of your music. Looks like you're a great singer. And we're gonna play some of the tunes shortly for the viewers, the listeners. Um, when did you passion for music? When did you start singing?
Well, I would say I started singing again at a young age. I first started singing soca. I started trying to get into carnival, making songs for carnival as a young boy. So I have one track out there, but I didn't really stick with it. But over the
Soca?
years, I still was that.
Like soca, you have a soca track?
I have a soca track, but it's been years.
Can you sing a little bit for us? Can you like give us that little
Hurricane
soca?
gal, I want a hurricane gal. Okay. When Bumparo send me the hurricane gal, what you want? Hurricane gal, me want a hurricane gal. The name of it is hurricane gal.
Hurricane Galley. I can find it. Can I
Hurricane.
find it on YouTube or is it out there?
Yes, it actually is. It actually is out there though, but it didn't really do well. That was just my first track out there.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
And recently, you just released a new song. It's a big hit. It's getting more and more popular. It's called "Stay Strong."
Stay strong.
Love's
All right.
Journey. That's I've heard it. Very powerful song. It's very meaningful. I guess you helped collaborate it. You help write that song, or I know you're part of it.
All right. So it's basically my cousin's album. It's called Love Journey.
Okay,
He has about ten songs on the album, and we did about two songs together. All right. As you said, Stay Strong is one of them, and we also did one called Queen. All right. So basically, I'm featuring in the songs. So we wrote once two songs together, basically.
brilliant.
All right.
So I'm gonna play a little bit of the song for the viewers, the listeners right now. So that's CJ's and Javin. That's his cousin. I'm gonna play a little bit so the viewers can hear.
Don't stop, don't stop.
Excellent. That was Javin and Sensei CJ in Stay Strong. Very touchy, moving, powerful song. When I first heard it, it was very inspirational. Very, I felt the energy in the song.
Thank
Brilliant.
you, man. I appreciate that.
If you're down and you want something inspirational, go to YouTube. Stay Strong by Javin Octave featuring Sensei Napo.
Yes, sir.
That's the new release. But it's a very inspirational, motivational song. It looks like your faith is very strong. Looks like because it's saying stay strong. God will protect you. So it looks
All
like your
right.
faith is very strong also.
All right.
Brilliant.
Yes, sir.
And me knowing CJ being from St. Lucia, CJ have always worked with kids. Children has always been close to his call. Looks like. And I want CJ tell me why kids. You could work with adults, less stress, less problems. They could comprehend. Kids are wild and fun, and kids. Why kids? Why you want to work with kids? Why you like teaching kids?
Yeah. Now you mentioned a good point. It would have been better to work with adults, right?
Yes,
Yeah. But the thing is, I realized so again, me growing up in martial arts, karate to be specific, I understood the morals and principles it gave me as a young boy growing up. And basically seeing how my country is, everybody's looking for a quick fix. Everybody's trying to end gun violence, lessen the crime. I'm somebody I like to think deep. So with my skill and talent, I thought, I can do something about it in my own way. So basically, I try to target the root problem, and go straight to the kids because again, I believe, the kids are the future, the children are the future. We will be the leaders of tomorrow. You know.
absolutely.
All right. So basically, I had the idea to basically just start with children, and that's basically what I predominantly do. I work with kids. You
And
know.
how long? And I know you work with the schools on the islands. And how long you been working with the kids, teaching them martial arts?
Well, My since I was teaching under my school, Rising Warriors Academy, it's been about 1 year.
Okay.
But even before that, I was still under my Sense's Academy. All right, that's before I branched out. So I was also teaching his children's section.
Brilliant.
All right, so that was before that, and then I branched on my own, and then I started going on my own, doing stuff, going to the different schools. So that's about a year. Been doing that for about a year on my own.
Fantastic. And where do you see this going? What do you see the future of the Marvelous Motivations and the karate program? And
I see marvelous motivations. Again pushing the positivity for all the amazing activities, the karate, and all the incoming activities we're gonna have. I see it's gonna leave a huge impact. All right, especially as again for the karate, it's free of charge, but it's not just free of charge and then we just give anything. It also comes with value. So what basically you will be paying 100 US for, you basically the children get it for free. All right. So I'm just hoping and praying that the people actually see that it has value, and they take advantage of that. But I see with our marvelous motivations pushing that is gonna have a huge impact, not just the martial art aspect, the fitness aspects, and also all the activities that we're gonna have, making a huge impact on the island. Not just the Henry Lakai, but the entire country.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I love it. Great future, good vision. Again, since you said, this center and karate, the Marvelous Motivation Center, is more than a center. It's where the kids come in at no cost and they can come in, train their minds to be disciplined, to believe in themselves, where they have confidence. Because sometimes kids lack of confidence, lack of love, lack of stability at home, or they come to the center where they get love, they get discipline, they get attention, and we build confidence in them. When they leave mentally and physically, they leave the center knowing, yes, there's hope. Yes, things will be better. There's
definitely.
light. There's somebody out there who cares about me, and there's always is somebody out there who cares about you,
Right.
and that's what we try and instill in the center. Brilliant.
Right.
I know viewers and people who are listening. If you have any questions, or you could type in after we finish, we'll be posting this. So you could reach us at Marvelous Motivations at Instagram or Facebook or on TikTok. We have Marvelous Motivations. And you can ask us questions, comments. We'll be happy to hear from you. Any questions you want to ask Sensei CJ, again, you can reach him at. Also, CJ, what's your Instagram page?
Oh, my Instagram is warrior underscore light underscore 758. Warrior of light. Warrior underscore of underscore light 758. So again, that's warrior of light 758, or you can type in Sensei CJ.
Excellent. So, if you have any questions, comments for us, anything you want to learn more, you want to know CJ, any song or what the book he's coming out with, because I'm very excited to read that book, because I'm big on motivational books and inspiration books. So I can't wait for the book to come out. Love
Yes,
it.
gonna
Have my full support. And before we wrap up, time is almost up. I got one more question for you. So, in 2 words, just 2 words, who's CJ? Who's Sensei?
who's Sensei? Well, Sensei CJ in 2 words, I would say he is unstoppable and he is powerful.
Unstoppable and powerful. Brilliant.
Best word to describe.
All right, our time is up. I'd like to say, Sensei CJ, thank you for being here on our first YouTube live podcast on Marvelous Motivations. Keep inspiring the change, keep staying positive, keep doing the great things you do in the community, helping the youth, helping the kids. We appreciate you here at Marvelous Motivations. And again, the viewers, thank you all. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for your support. See you next Tuesday 7 p.m. Again, we're gonna have a different guest every Tuesday, 7 p.m. It'll be educational, inspiring, and just present the just vibing. We'll be vibing. That means energy. So thank you for vibing. The marvelous Mr. Marvelous. We thank you, CJ, everybody from all across the world.
Yes,
Remember,
sir.
what do you remember? Excellent. Thank you all. See you later.
All right.